Manila Press presents Drawn Testimony, written by Jane Rosenberg and read by Nicky Griffiths. Preface. All rise. The call always seems to come at the worst possible second, just as I start to fill my pen with ink. I move into a half-upright crouch as the judge enters, clutching whatever I'm holding, anxious not to disturb the supplies that are propped and stacked up around me. In the closely packed rows of the courtroom, it's not unknown for inkwells to go flying and pastel sticks to be knocked across the floor. That danger past, I settled down to my work. To my right, balanced on a tripod, sits a homemade box. 14 compartments that have been with me for the better part of 40 years, each holding varying hues of pastel colours in different sizes and shapes. The wooden frame I built now held together with rubber bands and gaffer's tape. To my left, perched on a fold-out stand, are pens, pencils, and that perilous inkwell. Underneath my seat, I have laid down newspapers to catch the pastel dust. Underneath me, a cushion boosts my height to provide a better view. Paper towels line my lap, and a sketchbook balances on my knees, its top tilting back against the frame of the luggage cart I drag to court every morning. I reach for the primary tool of my trade, a pastel pencil, and begin to draw. First go the foundational black lines, geometric shapes that will become faces, limbs and features, and onto which I will add colour, blending shades, building layers, and adding highlights. From this process, a body emerges, as if appearing through a fog. An egg shape hatches into a head. Eyes fill the outlines of empty sockets, and shoulders extend into arms, which grow fingers and gain gestures. My eyes flick from subject to paper, and back to subject, as I assess and reassess the tilt of the head, the extension of the arm, the shape of a nose, and the texture of hair. So goes the work I have been doing for more than 4 decades as a courtroom sketch artist, to capture the human stories of people as they pass through the court and justice system, whether as victims or perpetrators, witnesses to shocking events, or those working as attorneys, judges and court officials. Whatever and whoever is on trial that day, I will be there with my sketchpad, providing the images that will illustrate that evening's news or the next morning's paper. Art in place of photography, which remains prohibited in federal courtrooms. I have covered hundreds of cases and produced thousands of sketches of courtroom scenes depicting notorious murderers, sex abusers, terrorists, and child killers, some with expressive faces that respond to everything, and others that betray no emotion. I draw people who are recalling the worst experiences of their lives. Criminals whose motivations are the subject of worldwide speculation, and attorneys who can hold entire courtrooms spellbound as they make their closing arguments. Sketches that began as faceless ovals on my sketchpad have emerged as the scowling features of Donald Trump staring down a prosecutor, Harvey Weinstein gesturing his manacled hands toward a court officer, the eyewitness Donald Williams extending his arm to identify Derek Chauvin as the cop who killed George Floyd, the grandfatherly face of Bernie Madoff, whose gentle features had fronted the largest fraud in financial history, and the stony glare of Johar Tsarnaev, the teenage terrorist who, with his brother, had detonated bombs that ripped through crowds in the 2013 Boston Marathon. This work can be stressful. It is always demanding, and sometimes upsetting. I have drawn scenes, including a man's execution in the electric chair, that have left me feeling guilty, washing and rewashing my hands to expunge something more than pastel dust. In other cases, I've been brought to tears and had to pull my face away from the drawing I'm working on, knowing that even a little moisture will disfigure the pastel strokes. Despite these pressures and sometimes conflicting feelings, I could not imagine doing anything else. The courtroom is simply the best place a figurative artist could hope to do their work. Every human story imaginable passes through its doors and onto my sketchpad, an inexhaustible supply of material for my
Sample complete. Ready to continue?